And we're live. Welcome, everyone, to Southern Scrap Nation's podcast. Your host, as always, Daniel Jonas, me. Welcome back. Today is March 15th, 2023 at roughly around 9:30 here, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm here once again, as always, to break down UFC 280, or no, break down UFC Fight Night this past weekend, Jan versus Marab. Go over some news that's been in the UFC or in the MMA space. Also talk a little bit about Bellator that happened this weekend as well. This past weekend that happened as well. And don't forget, if you enjoy all the content or you enjoy just my breakdowns of fights and breaking down the news and just talking about what's going on in the UFC world, all my takes, make sure to subscribe, hit the subscription button down below, and also hit that notification bell if you want to get notified that I'm on live, especially since I kind of do these in the morning, if not afternoon, for those that are at work. Perfect time to click on, get your morning news in the MMA sphere. And ignore all that other stuff. And sometimes I'll do it in the afternoon, and you can just watch it later on the channel. And I post everything on Instagram, like the links to it, as well as posting the audio only version on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, all those places that you can find it, iTunes, of course. So that all being said, let's get into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened this past weekend with UFC Fight Night. UFC Fight Night, Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. As far as the location that it was kind of weird. I forget the name of the theater, but it was in Vegas, and this almost gave me Hard Rock Cafe vibes from back in the day when they did the Ultimate Fighter 1 finale, or even where Anderson Silva beat Chris Lieben. It's kind of like looked like the Hard Rock Cafe essentially. Very old looking not old looking venue, but old style of venue. They're walking through the crowd, and it's very small, and it's like a 10-second walk. Interesting. It was very interesting. But the card itself, let me go ahead and pull it up. And let me talk about fights. As far as my predictions and what I thought, I pretty much got it all wrong, almost. Nikita Krylov is the only one that I was right on. So Said Nurmagomedov lost the decision to Jonathan Martinez. Big win for Jonathan Martinez. I mean, beating any Nurmagomedov is. The submission from Nikita Krylov, triangle in like the first round. Just one of those things that I was talking about this fight. The variety in Nikita's game is going to help through the light heavyweight division. He got cut and came back, and ever since he's come back, he's looked phenomenal. He's 30-9. His only recent losses have been Paul Craig, and I'm sure we all know how that happened, and Magomed Ankalaev. And then he went away. He was away 2019. Maybe he never did get. Maybe he didn't. Oh no, it was probably in this area, or maybe he just didn't fight for that. Huh. There was a time where he was like out from fighting for a bit. I'm gonna say it's in this time, like 2016, 2017. He didn't fight once. He seeks time off, and then a Jan Blachowicz. Yeah, that's a good fight. He could get the one back from Magomed, since that fight didn't really, like, the Jan fight didn't play out for Magomed, so they're kind of open to whatever at this point, because the champ is Jamal Hill. He's set to fight Yuri. Glover's done. He's retired. So Magomed and Jan are the only two top contenders right now. And so Nikita would probably be the best to throw in there to mix it up. It's kind of weird though. Who do you give? Do you give? He lost to Magomed, so I guess Magomed winner. Maybe Magomed fights the winner of Jamal Hill the loser of Jamal Hill versus Yuri. Whoever wins that then fights for the title again. And then I guess you can give Jan Nikita. Rakic is in there somewhere too. But Rakic lost his fight. Lost to Jan or one of them. There's another fighter or two that's in that top 10 that might have something to say about that, but I don't think so. Then in the co-main event, you had Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. I thought Romanov was going to be a little bit more the prospect we all thought he was. But turns out, no. Alexander Volkov is that guy. He still is. He's always been very, very good, but he's one of those fighters that, one, he started very fast in this fight. He put the pressure on immediately and started touching Romanov. But what made this fight even cooler to watch Alexander Volkov at is once he defends a takedown, it happened in the Verdum fight. Once he defends the takedown, his confidence skyrockets. And then he starts putting the pressure on even more. Like once he starts getting the feel of, oh, you can't take me down, then I have nothing to worry about. So here are all my tools. And that's what makes him really good, is that he uses his length very well, and he's got a lot of power for a guy that's not, bulky and big, but he uses his range very well, and he's put on muscle, and he's got the power behind it. The sadness about Stefan Struve was that he never used his range well, and he never used his jab correctly for a guy that's 7 feet tall. Alexander Volkov is that guy. And what's fun about it is once he starts getting going, and you can't, and you're not like a crazy one-punch knockout artist. Which even Jairzinho Rosenstruck was that guy. But like I said, he put it on him. He went forward, and he's one of the better strikers in the heavyweight division. Now, obviously, where does he go from here? I don't know. He fights another top guy, gets back into title contention possibly, and then not fight John Jones, and then wait for whoever's champion after him when John inevitably retires and vacates the belt. Because that's what's going to happen. John's going to beat Stipe, talk maybe about another fight at heavyweight, but honestly, he's done everything. There's no one that impacts his legacy in a positive way. So, not much there for him. What does that mean? I think he just sails off to the sunset, vacates his belt, and then you have a vacuum in the top of the division where, kind of like the light heavyweight division, you're going to just see the belt exchange hands multiple times. Because John be doing that. And then in the main event, got this wrong. Oh boy, did I get this wrong. So, as you can see, I went into my defeated state. That's kind of how I felt when watching the fight. I kind of zapped my... I don't like fighters like Jan. Or I don't like fighters like Merab. You can't deny the success of his style, though. It's let them get a rhythm. The man shot 49 takedowns. He landed 11 of them. His takedown percentage is 22%. Petr had 5 takedown attempts and landed one of them. His takedown percentage is 20%. Work smarter, not harder. However, in Merab's case, maybe the answer is to work harder. But maybe it's just styles make fights. Petr had some success. He was landing shots. However, his style is very catch counter, get a read, and then implement his will on his opponent and break them down that way. Merab was very smart in never letting him set his feet and get the reads and get his timing and get all these little things that help Jan going to the championship rounds in 3, 4, 5, let him start to open up. Rob, anytime he would touch him, and anytime Jan would stop to let his hands go, he would shoot for a takedown. Would he get the takedown? No. Obviously not. 88% of the time, he didn't get the takedown. But in those 22% of the time, when he did get the takedown, he didn't even really hold him down. He was just using it to score points and be discouraging and make Jan double, triple check when he threw strikes. And all these things are great. But as far as a fight goes, I'm not a fan of that style. It's very conducive to point scoring. I totally understand it. But it's not conducive to a long career. Jan still landed 87 strikes. I've seen other fights of Merab. He gets hurt. He's a buzzsaw going forward. He's the machine, obviously. However, if you're constantly moving on forward momentum, trying to push the pace, you're in positions to get hurt. He does get hurt. And it's going to take somebody, I don't know who, but once he gets matched up with the right person, they're going to put him out. They either put him out or he'll go out like the Ricky Simone fight. You need that person with jiu-jitsu. I think that's probably his biggest, would be my biggest weapon against him if I was coaching a fighter to fight him, would be jiu-jitsu. Once he takes you down, you're keeping him down. And we're going to take his back and you're going to choke him. That would be, in my mind, the best way to deal with it, is to use the jiu-jitsu in an offensive way against him. Okay, I know he's going to shoot, not concede to the takedown, but in those scrambles that Jan was making, use those moments to get to a better position. Because there are moments where Jan got out of the position, and then he was kind of like, oh, wait, what do I do? You just need someone with a little bit more of the finishing prowess. Yeah, finishing prowess with like submissions on the ground. And I think that would be the way to go. You're going to have to, and when it comes to submissions, you're going to have to separate the boy from consciousness. There's no way you're getting an ankle or you're going to get a limb submission on him and he's going to tap. No, you have to put him out. And it seems like it's harder to put him out with your hands, like punching him, and your legs. So the best way to do it is to get behind him and give him the old RNC until his hands start going. He's a problem. I don't, like I said, I'm more of the camp of, if he had 4 takedowns, they all landed, and it was, or 5 takedowns, 1 per round, and the control time was 30-something minutes. 20-something minutes, right? To me, that's more impressive. Strikes are the same, except 1 takedown per round, and it's a 5-minute control each round. To me, that's prime. That's what wrestling should be. That's what high-level grappling should be. Being able to take someone down, control them for the whole round, and put strikes on. Khabib. All the time. all day. Could be. I mean, obviously, I love strikers, so a good head kick, as we'll talk about for the main event, um, is great. Wrestling can also be amazing, especially if you use it to get to a finishing position and finish. Where I don't like wrestling is where it's used as I'm going to dive at your legs to just dive at your legs. If you want to grapple, that's fine. I have no problems with that either. My issue with it is if you're signing up for a fight and he's knocked people out or like TKO'd people on the ground, like the Moraes fight. TKO'd him. Moraes quit on the ground and ran out of gas. TKO'd him on the ground. He's got good ground and pound. So instead of taking this as like a concrete win, if I'm Merab, if I'm trying to improve anything in my game, then I'm working on holding people down so I can get more strikes off. Now, is that a credit to Jan for just like never giving up and never conceding a takedown? Obviously. But there's clearly fighters out there that can deal with people that are like that never conceded a takedown, so they beat them to the next position. What's next for Merab? He didn't call Aljo out. That's another thing why I'm not a fan of what's going on. His best friend is Aljo. He said he was going to wait until Aljo lost or moved up, and then he would fight for the belt. What are you in this for? Are you in this to make money? Because, I mean, besides having the Georgian crowd behind you, which clearly a ton of them, so it can make him a lot of money through ticket sales, and he could be a prize fighter in that way. But if you're in this to win the belt, then you can't make concessions. You can't be like, I'm not going to fight my best friend. Yada, yada, yada. Well, then why are you here? If I'm Dane, I'm sitting him down and being like, what are we doing? If you're not fighting for the belt, then maybe another organization can have you. Not in a way of like, I want to cut him because of his... But what's the point? We can't sideline you. You're number 2 contender in the world. How can you sideline? Obviously, fight another person, I guess, but the more you fight, the more you go backwards. If he fights a Corey Sandhagen, if he fights a Vera, he's going backwards. You can make the argument to fight O'Malley, but maybe he deserves that fight as far as make money and not have to fight for the title, and that'll also give Aljo some time to win a fight against Henry if he does, and then go up to featherweight. But if Aljo plans on beating Henry, then beating O'Malley, he wouldn't need to beat Sandhagen and Cheeto. Let's say those 3. Well, then what's Merab gonna do? Merab's not going up. He's too small. I just think that this is, as much as it's a win on paper, it's not really. The theater at Virgin Hotels at Las Vegas. There we go. As much as it's a win for Merab, on paper, it's a win. Performance-wise, it's a win. But I think it left a lot of people disappointed. And I think that's kind of how I'm at. I'm just kind of defeated with this whole... The bantamweight division's competitive. Yeah. But now we've gotten to the point where... Great. The bantamweight division is going to be held up. It's got politics in it. It's just... There's great fights. Cheeto versus Sandhagen. Doesn't really move them towards the championship or anything like that. O'Malley's not got a fight, so as far as big money fights in the bantamweight division, the only thing we got to look forward to is Aljo versus a Henry Cejudo who's been out for years. Not years, maybe 2 years. From a division that was like super competitive and super fun to watch and all that, it's now being bogged down by the money and the politics of friends and starting to lose that. And sucks. Kind of sucks because it's a very competitive and fun division. But yeah, all that stuff kind of ruins it in a way. But I mean, awesome performance as far as getting that W. Hopefully they figure out in the bantamweight division. But let's get to the news for the morning. MMAfighting.com. If anyone out there has a better MMA news source place to go, please let me know. I pull up 3 of them. I pull up the big 3. I pull up MMA Junkie, Morning Report, MMA Fighting, and then BJPenn.com. BJPenn.com is my satire. Not satire, but it's like my opinion page, right? I just go there after all the concise stuff is done, the articles are written. But even, to be honest, even the MMA journalists on MMA Junkie and whatever, MMA Fighting, yeah, bad. Not good. They pick really bad subjects. Also, it's like 15-year-old boys work at these places when you look at the writing. And some of the things that they choose. They choose like... Let's see if we have some in the tweets today. Kamaru Usman. Leon Edwards has showed me nothing to prove he's a better MMA fighter. I'll get into the breakdowns of this fight. That's a crazy thought to have. He has shown me nothing to prove he's a better MMA fighter. He fucking... your head into the bleachers. What are you talking about? He separated you from consciousness. Yeah. I rewatched the fight last night. Yeah. You got him against the cage. And he kind of looked... I mean, everyone in that fight, the Salt Lake City fight, is just... it clearly affected him. It didn't affect Usman because Usman was in altitude training constantly. So he doesn't really have an excuse there, but Leon kind of has an excuse because he didn't train at altitude. First round, he takes Usman down, takes his back. And embedded, even Usman has like the excuse of, oh, I wasn't ready. I wasn't in it mentally yet. Okay, well, you should be. You're the champion. He's a number 1 contender. He lost to you. He wants to get that back. Anyway. 2, 3, 4, 5. Leon at that point kind of just looked like the altitude got to him. Didn't pull the trigger. Had a Darren Till moment. Hate them Darren Till moments, but the thing about Leon that everyone can get a little... I don't want to get too much into it. That everyone can get a little bit frustrated with is the pulling the trigger. Like, if he just touched him, like, if he just threw more strikes out, just a little bit, I think it would have done him a lot bigger service. But the strikes he did hit him with, they landed. They were good. He would hit him with good counter strikes. He's more fluid on the feet, clearly. The big shots that Usman threw at him were on the guard. Yeah, he went to the body, but it was big movements. It was like, bah, bah, bah. And then he'd step out big to try to throw a big punch. Technically, it doesn't make you a better MMA fighter. On the ground, sure, you can grab his legs and put him on his butt. He took your back. Technically, he's better than you in jiu-jitsu. The only place that you can say that maybe he's not as good of a fighter is in the collegiate wrestling aspect of take of like double legs. Because he took you down. He took Usman down with a body lock and a trip. So to say that he's not technically proficient in that is crazy. He took Usman down. And then he went on to take Mount and took his back. Usman's path to victory was simple. It's effective, obviously. Get him against the cage, use your physicality. But how does that make you a better MMA fighter? Because then you got exposed. Then you leaned and you took the bait and you ate the head kick. That's a setup. That's something that a proficient MMA fighter does. To say that Usman's leaning on his physicality, genetics, and wrestling skill, to me, that's more of a valid point than saying Leon's worse than Kamaru Usman in MMA. Technically, he's not. It's copium for sure. Gas tank, I guess, is that's what he's saying is part of that, but gas tank's it didn't save you. The gas tank didn't save him from getting separated from consciousness. Now, Usman's knocked some people out for sure. And with the Masvidal fight, that's where you could say Usman's a better mixed martial artist, because Masvidal's not shooting takedowns. He's not going for takedowns. He's strictly just trying to stand and bang. And Usman knocked him out. So in my mind, it's like, oh damn, he could he could take it to any realm he wants to. He can knock him out. He can take him down. He can do whatever. Yeah. In this fight, the only thing I've seen is I've either seen Usman shoot for legs because he doesn't want to stand, or box, shoot. But it's all aspects of I don't want to be in Leon's strength. Where Usman was so confident against Burns, against Masvidal, against 165ers, he just walked them down in a way of like, I'm going to go by my pace, my rhythm. That's how he got those knockouts and knockdowns. He knocked Gilbert down. He knocked Usman out, or knocked Masvidal out. It's because they weren't so good. Even Colby, he kind of did. But with Leon, anytime Leon would touch him, he's like, I can't. I got to close distance. So there's clearly a gap, in my opinion, in the striking. It's just more of the mental aspect. If you want to say mentally on that, yeah, Usman's risen to the occasion more. But as far as like a overall game, nah. Nah, I would say Leon's a more complete fighter. Alistair Overeem, suspended 1 year. Win over Badr Hari overturned to no contest due to doping violation. How did we not see this one coming? We clearly saw it coming. We saw the return of Overeem. I guess we'll just have to get another Badr Hari rematch. Roundtable. Who's under more pressure to win? Kamaru Usman or Justin Gaethje? Kamaru Usman. What kind of question is that? Who's under more pressure to win? I don't know. The guy fighting for the title or the guy not fighting for the title? That's what I'm saying. What journalism is this? What third grade question is that? A or B? Who's under more pressure to win? Justin Gaethje won his last fight. So, not him. If Justin Gaethje wins this fight, he's argument to not fight for the title, but fight fight. Let's say Conor beats Michael Chandler. Guess who's next in line to fight Conor McGregor? Technically, Justin Gaethje. So in my mind, it's a pretty easy question to answer. Francis Ngannou responds to John Jones. Dana White, I wanted to fight, but where's John? Someone said it perfectly. I forget where, but Francis is out of the organization. Francis doesn't get to talk about John Jones, Dana White, UFC anymore. He took his marching orders, or he took his retirement papers. He took his leaving papers. He's gone. Can we stop reporting on him about stuff in the UFC until he gets signed to another organization or whatever? He doesn't get an opinion anymore. He priced himself out of it. I've never agreed more with Dana White in the situation than when he says, we're done with Ngannou. Never again. I agree. Because the deal think about it. If he was exactly what everyone thinks he is, and he could have stopped John's takedown in the very beginning of that, let's say it was John versus Ngannou instead of Cyril, and the fight goes 2 minutes, but instead Cyril sends John's head to the other side of the stadium, then all this kind of talk or whatever would make sense. But the fact that, one, he priced himself out of a negotiation, look at all the stuff that they did for John during that week. You could have easily taken that all from him. If you are him, if you think you're the guy to beat John, if you're super confident that you can do it, if you know in your heart of hearts that you can beat John Jones, I don't know why you didn't take the fight. It was $8 million. Oh, I want health insurance. Buy your own fucking health insurance. I don't understand this with the fighters of like, oh, I want better fighter pay. I want da-da-da-da-da. It's like, take care of yourself first. How about that? How about Maslow hierarchy of needs? Take care of yourself first and then worry about others, right? First, you have $8 million. Buy your own fucking health insurance. After you buy your own health insurance, then you put money back into yourself. You make the fight even bigger. Hopefully you can make $16 million in your next fight and yada, yada, yada. Then maybe with the money that you've been making, that you've reinvested in yourself because you're a business. If your Instagram account is a business account, guess what? You as a human being are a fucking business. So treat yourself as so. Reinvest in yourself. Make that $8 million into $16 million. Make that $16 million. You get the point. And then once you've done that, then you can make headways into helping other fighters and give back. But this demand, and you've never cracked 1 million pay-per-view buys. If I'm Dana White, I'm chucking you too. And then requesting $30 million? For what? For what? Once again, you've never passed 1 million pay-per-view buys. You don't get to make money in the company like that. Sorry if this annoys people, but guess what? That's business. Business. That's what it is. It's not fun. It's not supposed to be like, the fight business isn't supposed to be entertainment. As much as it is entertainment, it's a sport business. It's sports. People only give a fuck about winners. Sorry, not sorry. It's a sport about winning. If you lose, it doesn't mean you can't come back and win and obviously get yourself back into that and then continue winning. But listen, people love Darren Till. Guess who's not in the UFC anymore? It's about winning. You have to win. Petr Yan, I don't like that he keeps losing. Because I know one of these days on my feed, it's going to come up, fighter removed, Petr Yan. And you can say what you want. Oh my God, his career, but all the people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It only matters if you win, and people know that. Fighters know that. So as far as like Francis goes, he saved himself from the losing aspect because, you don't want to lose. And just like Gon said, which I'm sure Francis is very, very, very well aware of, especially after that first Stipe fight, it was his first real loss. Like, he really felt like a loss, and it can be devastating. So let's say it did go Francis versus John, and it went the way that it went with Cyril. Well, there goes any boxing money, and it's like, yeah, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you go and you try to make $30 million in boxing, which they're not going to give you, by the way. You've done nothing in boxing. Why would they give you $30 million? But do you rather lose in a technical boxing match where you get the shit kicked out of you for 12 rounds, or lose in 2 minutes against John and then realize that you have a lot to work on and that he's the greatest of all time? I personally would take the 2 minutes, get choked out, call it a day. But if you want to go 12 rounds against Tyson Fury or a technically proficient boxer and then get classed while getting punched in the face and look dumb, then yeah, I mean, sure, go ahead and do that. But I don't think that's making smart life moves. Canelo Alvarez defends his title against John Ryder in his first Mexico fight in more than a decade. So I guess that's what the news is that he's fighting in Mexico. Jay Heron welcomed Jake Gyllenhaal slapping him for real during Roadhouse filming at UFC 280. Yeah, of course you did. Otherwise, you get fired from the judge. They can find another Jay Heron to take your place. Of course he welcomed it. What type of dumb headline is, oh, I welcomed him slapping me? Yeah, because he would fire your ass if you didn't. Next. All right. Matt Brown stands with Merab refusing to fight Aljo. I would never fight a friend. Yeah, but Matt, you never were in line to fight for the title. And your friend was never holding the title. So, different story, different situation. A guy. Embeddeds are always great. Look at me now. Pound for pound headshot dead. Said Saud. I like his breakdowns. Obviously, they're not my boy Dan Hardy. I miss my Dan Hardy breakdowns. I miss the Dan Hardy breakdowns when they used to put the things and the circles and the things. But Said Saud's pretty good. I don't mind him. He's pretty to the point, gets it, understands, uses the machine to circle things pretty well. Oh, Bellator recaps. So crazy.
Here, joined by...
We're not gonna listen to that. So crazy Bellator recaps. I mean, first things first. Michael Venom Page kicks. I forget his name. Goriguchi kicks his kneecap in or something. He kicks him right in the kneecap. And he like pops his kneecap. Ugh, gross. I've never seen that. I've literally never seen that. I don't understand that. Maybe it's because of the way he was standing. I don't even know if Michael Venom Page was expecting that at all. But who knows? Who knows if that's something he like practiced? Linton Vassell gets his revenge on this guy, Philip Lins. This is one of those things, like, can you imagine being a light heavyweight? This guy throws a punch, and you're just like, left hook. And it lands, and the guy eats, head first to the canvas. A guy my size, if I did that, the guy would just eat it and keep going forward. It's crazy. I mean, it's a pretty perfect shot, but having 220-something pounds on top of it, man, what a help that must be. This snap kick is perfect to the body. I'm currently working with one of the fighters with this kick. The timing on it is just perfect. Look at this. Boom. He tried to say it was a nut shot. Nope. Oof. Stabbing. They show a better angle of it? No, they don't. Anyway, crazy. And then Usman Nurmagomedov with the question mark kick. Perfect question mark kick. Then gets the rear naked choke. Ooh. So World Grand Prix. Oh, okay. So the guy that won by that kick is in the World Grand Prix, and he'll fight the winner of Pitbull and AJ McKee, and then Primus versus Barkawi versus I mean, I just see Nurmagomedov winning this whole thing, but it might be up to McKee versus Nurmagomedov in my mind. Unless I think McKee lost to Pitbull. It's going to be between Pitbull, McKee, and then Nurmagomedov. Those are going to be. Unless the Shabali guy just. But here's my boy, Dan Hardy. Grab yourself some more room. Now let's see. Donnie Yen.
提醒亮，我是甄子丹，加油！
Donnie Yen with the wine. It Man. To be honest, I mean, fun little fact about me. My goal in life is to essentially live the life of It Man. Be a guy that, I mean, I'm already halfway doing it. Living in my house and having my dojo downstairs. But I love that time of, I don't even know if it's real. I don't know if that time and world was real, but it was like 5 martial art houses in a cul-de-sac, and then in the middle was like was a stage ring area, and then they would just like compete against each other and try to show who's got the best Wing Chun style. And I thought it was just, I mean, it's one of the more fantastic martial arts movies. Go watch it. That had never backed down. But Donnie Yen, he's that guy. It Man's about the instructor of Bruce Lee in China. And there was one of the great scenes as he goes and he beats up a bunch of judokos. Because when Japan came to invade or whatnot, he just like, it's great. Rampage Jackson and Bob Sapp in Thailand. Kind of seems, weird what they're doing here, but whatever. Ooh, Conor McGregor still hasn't been tested this year. Oh, this guy? An old injury resurfaced. This happened to me earlier while preparing for Ryzen 28. Getting kicked in the stomach? Oh, okay. Michael Chiesa is who he's fighting next. Li Jingliang. Sexy Yama. He's on the he was on the physique 100 whatever. Awesome. Here we go, everyone. This is what I'm talking about. Why are there 15-year-olds running a MMA journalism site? How does this have anything to do with MMA? We get it. She's hot. But why? Why? Hey, MMA fighting? I'm on to you. Drake Riggs. Who wins this weekend? You already know. I'm not even going to hide this from everyone. But it's probably, yeah, there we go. Let's see, what else? Hopes for 100 more fights ahead of, oh my God. Ahead of UFC return. Get out of here. Michael Bisping, DC this weekend. Also, in the States, it's on Sunday. By the way. Right? Sunday? Of of course Megan O'Leary's going to be there. Of course Bruce Buffer's going to be there. Okay, this is what matters. Michael Bisping, Daniel Cormier. Okay, that's what I thought. Michael Bisping, because he's the last one to headline a numbered UFC card in London. Also, he's like the most famous English MMA fighter of all time. He's no longer salt. Oh, thanks, MMA Junkie. Glad to know that you guys kept up whether or not Chris Curtis is salty. I hate MMA news. I only do this because there might be like fight announcements or something like that, and like I can look at a picture like this and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, speaking of bare knuckle boxing, I mean, aren't we all just inevitably waiting for Justin Gaethje to get into bare knuckle boxing? Just saying. Think about it. Um. All right, let's get some fun. Let's see. Anthony Smith questions whether or not the friendship between Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili is going both ways. What I've seen is Merab ride hard as shit for his best friend. Okay, let me break this shit down. Merab's been to Georgia with Aljo. Aljo's taken Merab to Jamaica. I think they both ride for each other equally as hard. I just don't think Aljo gives a fuck because he's the champion. I just think he knows that it's one of those things. Merab is clearly a fan. He's a fight fan. If you're in the sport, you have to separate the two. I think the future of MMA is to go to big camps to get good looks. Then you go home to your own camp where you build your own sponsorships and you build your own business with your own team during your camp, and you go over the little things and da-da-da. And that way it keeps you separated from all of this. If you're a professional MMA fighter, you don't need to go to class anymore. Right? These MMA classes, these group classes, you don't need that anymore. Stop making friends in the gym. Make friends in other aspects of life. Right? Get into other things. Get another hobby. Fighting is 6 weeks out of your life, 6 to 8 weeks out of your life. So to sit there and just be like everything right, and I understand the gym, you train with these people, and it's like nothing stronger than blood, sweat, and tears, and sharing it with my brother. That's fine. They don't come into the cage with you. It's only a disservice, and you're clearly seeing it. It's a disservice. Alex Pereira taunts rapper Drake ahead of his 287 rematch with Israel. Hope this Drake bet on you. No, let Drake bet on Adesanya again. I don't think Alex Pereira understands the Drake curse. Don't let him. I mean, I guess John Jones broke it, but don't let him bet on you. You're not John Jones. So, as much as I love Alex Pereira, he's not John Jones. Recently released Darren Till reportedly in talks to fight Logan Paul in boxing match. Probably not, but that makes more sense. Why are these people coming to bat for the power slap shit? Michael Bisping, dog, be smarter, homie. Why? He didn't. We gotta remember. I do struggle to call it sport, but this competition never invented it. It was all over the world. In Russia, gave him more business. I'm telling you, it was. The event was fucking amazing. It was. It was so entertaining. Then why is it the lowest? Why does it have the lowest numbers? For all you fucking critics out there, everyone that's trying to get ahead and scratch and claw your position of wealth or of course. Anyway. Oh god, let me just say, dark horse that can dethrone the UFC. If he says Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall. John's not gonna fight Tom Aspinall. Why would he fight Tom Aspinall? Oh, these kinds of takes hurt me. They pain me. The dark horse that can do a little bit of thinking. Why would he fight John Jones? Yeah, obviously he's got the skills and everything like that. But why? Why would he do that? And honestly, maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he wouldn't because of lack of experience. Maybe he wouldn't. Just saying. Maybe John makes it look easy against Tom Aspinall because Tom Aspinall is young in the sport. And then the Michael Bisping thing. Look, I know Dana White signed your checks. But you don't have to ride so hard. We clearly know it sucks. No one likes it. It's got the lowest ratings. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Oh, I could also do Bloody Elbow. I might bring that up next time. Power Slap retained their record low ratings in week 5. This was in February. My bad. This isn't even the one. This is the one. Power Slap closes first season with the worst ratings ever. Power Slap 8-week run on TBS finished the show as the 106th rated cable show for the night. No one cares about this. No one cares about this at all. Everyone hates this. I'm happy they lost money on this. I'm so happy they lost money on this. It doesn't deserve any love. It's not a sport. It's not anything. The entertainment value of it is like this. There's like no entertainment value on it. You already have people at the highest level fighting each other, setting up head kicks in the 5th round to get once-in-a-lifetime moments. And then you want people to get entertained by 2 guys holding their hands behind their back and just slapping each other in the face? You have the epitome of combat sports. Why the fuck would you just debase yourself? You should have let all these other organizations run out of money doing it and then let that fad go. But no, you put it on fucking TBS. And you couldn't even keep it on TBS. You had to go to Rumble. I had to go to Rumble, dude. I mean. All right. Let's break it down. UFC 286. Ha ha ha. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman for the 3rd time. Rubber match. Number 3. We're going to go over the card. Obviously, it takes place in the O2 Arena. Big deal. London. Saturday. Oh, no, it's on Saturday. I thought it was on Sunday. Maybe Sunday their time. It's Sunday their time. But for us, Saturday, 5 p.m., I love it. I'm sponsor me, McDonald's. Prelims, 1 p.m. Yes. So, fights to look out for. Well, I've got the page up. Leon Murphy. Great fighter. Love watching him. Going against the 10-0 Gabriel Santos. I'm pretty sure Leon Murphy was supposed to fight somebody else. Nathaniel Wood. I think he was supposed to fight Nathaniel Wood. It was cool. They shook hands about it. They were like, "I'll fight you," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll fight you too." And then they did their like British thing, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." But now he's fighting Gabriel Santos. Nathaniel Wood pulled out. I like Nathaniel Wood as well. Would have been a good fight. Joanne Wood fighting Carolina, who Meatball Molly McCann spinning back elbowed. I'm gonna go with Wood. I mean, she was like the number one contender in the world as a flyweight. And look at it. This is what I'm saying. We only care about winners, and I'm not saying it's nothing against anybody. I'm not saying, oh, you're a loser. Fuck you, you're a loser. I'm just saying, if you lose, this is what happens. You're on the early prelims, which obviously not that big of a deal. You're still on a pay-per-view card. But when you used to be where Alexa Grasso is, like right there, I mean, not anymore. Alexa Grasso won. She rose to the occasion. But she would get right to that position where she would be up next to fight Valentina, lose, and look at where you are now. Like, look at the road she's now has to build back. And at her age and her time in the sport, is that something? She's 37. Is that something that she wants to do? Now, I think she beats Luana Carolina just because of the experience and, like, she doesn't belong down there fighting. No disrespect to Luana, but, like, of her skill level. I think she should be fighting higher opponents. I just don't, like, is the title even something worth her fighting for, or is she just gonna, whatever, I'll fight on this pay-per-view, I'll fight on the next pay-per-view, and then just make money that way, which is fine. Totally fine. Just got to know where we're at in our career. Jai Herbert versus Ludwig Klein. Banger of a guard, or a banger of a fight. I like it. Jai Herbert at home could be Leon Edwards, his training partner, could be the moment. But Ludwig Klein, fast, has great combinations, but he's been kind of on a skid for a guy that I had high hopes for. He won his last fight. Oh, he won his last two fights. Oh, it was the Landwehr fight and the Mike Trezana fight. I didn't even realize he fought 2 times. I'll have to go look at those fights. And then Veronica Macedo versus Juliana Miller. Juliana Miller, I think a Dana White Contender Series versus Mrs. Hardy. Dana Hardy's fiance or wife. Fan of both of them, so that's why I bring it up. All right, so in the prelims, Mohamed Mokav versus Jafel Filo. This is a fight from Mohamed to win, essentially. He's like the biggest prospect at flyweight coming up. He wants to be the youngest flyweight or youngest UFC champion. Probably not going to happen, but that was his goal. So obviously good to watch. Chris Duncan versus Omar Morales. Omar, tough fighter. Chris Duncan coming from Dana White Contender Series, it looks like, because of the color of the circle. Yeah. Chris, the problem, Duncan. Dana White Contender Series. And then Omar Morales. He is... that's how I know him. Giga Jacasey beat him. Jesus. He fought at lightweight, featherweight. Oh, okay. So he's at lightweight now. Ooh. That's one of those things. If you can't make up your weight class mind, you got some problems already. And then Jack Shore versus Makwan Amirkhani. Jack Shore, everyone thinks he's like the Welsh GSP. I just think he's a very good fighter. Now he does have shades in the sense that he's got a very good double leg and a jab, but he's a featherweight, so he's not George. He's also built differently. He's just a very technical fighter, and I think this is against Makwan is just another step up in competition. And as much as Makwan can spoil the party, he's gone up to featherweight, so I think this is a pretty good welcome to featherweight. Because if you beat Makwan, I mean that's from here on out, top 15 for sure. It's a pretty quick step into top 15 as well. All right, main card: Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Now Marvin Vettori, tough fighter. I've never really been impressed with him technically. I really don't understand how he gets to where he gets to the top of the middleweight division. But I think with Roman, you're gonna see the discrepancy that he somehow capitalized on by not being tough isn't enough. You can't just be tough. And I think Roman Dolidze being tough and then also being a guy that's been spoiling the party, I think it's his chance to spoil the party. He kind of fights like Marvin, not specifically like Marvin in a way, but same kind of style, like just brutish. And I think between these two buzzsaws, I think Roman's gonna come away with being the better buzzsaw. And then you have Casey O'Neill fighting Jennifer Maia, essentially up and comer prospect who I really like watching fight, in Casey O'Neill versus Jennifer Maia. Tested a girl that went to the decision with the champ, really pushed the champ at the time. Well experienced. I'm going to go with Casey just because I'm on her bandwagon, so it's less of a... Through straight accolades, I think obviously Jennifer Maia and her style probably should beat Casey O'Neill. I'm just on the hype train of Casey O'Neill. You have the return of Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberena. I'm going to take Gunnar all day. Once again, more versatility and diversity in his games. They're about the same age too. Obviously, Brian Barberena is coming off of the win, and Gunnar, I think he's coming off of a win. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he beat Takashi Sato. And I just think Gunnar's dynamic style of the in and out, and then the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, as much as it does get streamlined into half guard, past the half guard, take the back, choke him out, I think even in that, Brian's going to have a hard time with a technician in that sense. The in and out movement, the karate style, it's going to be hard for a brawler like Brian Barberena to deal with that. So I think it's a good fight for Gunnar Nelson to come, continue his winning streak. I think he was supposed to fight someone else as well, so that's why Daniel Rodriguez. That fight to me is a little bit harder. That in my opinion, I would have gone Daniel Rodriguez. This one I think is more suitable for Gunnar as far as styles make fights. All right, now the two big fights: co-main event versus main event. Co-main event: Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. I'm gonna go Rafael Fiziev. Being a huge fan, being in his class, being friends with Matt Semper, who's also friends with Rafael and assistant coaching, and well, now I guess he head coaches, and just being along for the ride with Rafael and just kind of going, really knowing him before he got on the big stage it's kind of fun to see. I also just think, once again, the diversity in the striking, the variety in his game, it's gonna change. It's gonna only give him. It's only gonna benefit him. The kicks, the changing of stances, the rhythm, the punching power, on top of his knowledge of striking. I don't think people understand his footwork on its own is crazy. I will say the levels of detail in boxing that Justin has is all the way up here. Fiziev doesn't have as much boxing, right, detail. Trevor Whitman is the boxing guy. So the detail, right, is like Fiziev's here with his boxing. Justin's here with his boxing. However, this is MMA. So when it comes to the whole game of kicking as well, it starts to level out. Right? Now it comes to the wrestling. Technically, Justin should be here, but Justin never uses his wrestling in an offensive way. So I don't think this fight, it's going to just change. So as far as coming into like a clinch area, I think that's where Fiziev actually gains footing. Is I think if they do clinch, it's not going to be in a way where Justin's going to be shooting takedowns. Justin likes using the clinch for uppercuts and dirty boxing. But against a Muay Thai practitioner, that's not something you want to be in. So I think the engaging in the clinch in the car crash, as he likes to put it, is actually a disservice to Justin. Closing the distance, getting into that clinch range is actually going to hinder him by getting beat up with knees, elbows, and all the things that Fiziev is very good at in the clinch, and not also having the neural pathway to do the Marab and shoot every so often. It's going to be hard for him to just change his game plan like that. And that's where I think this is a perfect matchup for Fiziev, where you got a guy super aggressive with punching, almost closing distance for you, and just an assassin with his striking. Not a guy that's going to like sit on the back and be patient with his punch, like a guy that's going to push the pace, where Fiziev is going to be able to start picking up and, picking shots. And that's why I think late TKO, probably second round, third round TKO from Fiziev versus Justin. Hell yeah. And then finally, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. Bro, their records are like... Literally, the only difference on their records is Kamaru's win over Leon. That's wild. That's crazy. If Leon beats Kamaru, Leon has a better record than Kamaru. That's bananas. I'm telling you, this fight isn't as like one-sided as it always seems. I think fighting at the O2, this actually sways me to believe that Leon is going to do it again. I really do believe Leon's going to do it again. I just think Kamaru and Justin are happy to be there. The way I'm picking up on the feeling of the mentality and stuff, I just feel like they're happy to be there again. And I don't think Usman doesn't really have that fire of, I want my belt back. If you're that much of a reigning champion, you have a desire and a passion and a fire in your eyes that's like, I want my property back. That's mine. I was there for so long. Give it back to me. But instead, he's more like, yeah, I mean, well, that first round. He's very acting like, I mean, I guess you could say he's acting like the champ again, but it's like, you're not. You're not anymore. You can say that it was a Hail Mary. It was the perfect shot. My cat's been in here the whole time. It was the perfect shot or whatnot, but I don't think it was. I think Leon had the off day. That's the best Kamaru had in his first fight. That's the best he had. Or in the second fight. That's the best he had. And it was like, all right. If that went to the decision, would we all really be talking about that fight? We're only talking about the fight because Leon head kicked him into orbit. And I think that's the Leon that we're going to see on Saturday. That Leon. The Leon in the first round. The Leon that took Kamaru down. The one that touches him, hits the leg, goes up and down, sets things up. And I think Kamaru, on a standpoint of striking, he's going to be playing catch up. How not to get head kicked like that again. Where I think Leon and his team are past that. They're like, obviously he's going to be looking for the head kick. how do we stop him from wrestling us to death, because that's what he's going to be doing. So I think that's easier because that's what they've been working on. Just keep on. And I think that's the difference between this fight. I could be wrong. I don't really care, honestly. I could be wrong, but I really think in my heart of hearts, what makes this fight different is I think we've seen all that Kamaru can do. That's all he's ever going to be able to do. He's got 2 bum knees. He's 36 years old. Leon's 31. He's getting up there, but I feel as though now is his time. I feel like Kamaru's game plan isn't. It's to the max it can be. Leon's figured it out, and now it's just polishing off the rest of it, so like he doesn't get taken down that easily again and held down. And to win in those other positions, he can get better. Whereas I think Kamaru doesn't have any room to get better. The years of wrestling has really, really taken a toll on his body. I think Leon does it. I think he takes it home for UK. I don't know if it's going to be pound for pound, headshot, dead, but I do think Leon gets it done. I think either in a decision, in a way where we're like, whoa, he really pieced up Kamaru and stuffed those takedowns. Or he submits Kamaru because Kamaru's pretty susceptible to getting submitted. Those are my predictions. Leon by submission. Rafael by TKO. Gunnar Nelson. Casey O'Neill. Roman Dolidze. Put it down. Stamp it. Notarize it. Those are my picks. UFC 286. O2 Arena. Saturday, March 18th. 5 p.m. main card starts for us in the East Coast. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to try to cut this episode so I can do like my breakdown and then cut it and then put it on the channel as just my breakdown and predictions for the fights. Other than that, make sure subscribe, check the noti bell or hit the noti bell, subscribe. Remember, Southern Scrap Nation, come train with me. Charlotte, come train, come check out the basement. Look at all the good work we can get. All you got to do is click here. If you click here, it takes you all the way down. You get to scheduling. You just put your name. I got some training videos. Look at all these cool things you can do. Have any questions? I'll get back to you. My phone number, whatever. Point being, SouthernScrapNation.com. Southern Scrap Nation. Daniel Jonas as always. Until next time, peace.